Before we begin, thank you very much to Trans Lefts Are Human Lefts for joining the Patreon campaign. No, that's about right. Like, a trans person's left would also be my left, so that's correct, actually. I every now and then one of these shoutouts sounds like a little weird, like I might be missing some like backward message, so I have to like double check it before I shout it out. I ran this past a trans friend of mine, and she's like, "Nope, that's funny. I approve." Okay, we're all clear then. Thank you very much for the support. That was a top tier patron, so their request is in the queue. Oh, and they have a funny one. I'm going to have to do a lot of extra special stuff for, but I think it's going to be worth it. All right. So, yesterday I did the top 10 toys of 2023. If you are a toy reviewer of any kind on YouTube, or just any kind of critic at all, you have to do like a top 10 of the previous year within 2 weeks of the brand new year. I think it's somewhere in the YouTube bylaws. I might be mistaken on that, but I think I read it in there somewhere. Point being, a little thing came up of the fact that, like, of all the toys I really enjoyed in 2010, holy cow, where's my brain? 2023, 3 of them ended up being Optimus Prime toys. And I actually got a few people going like, why is Optimus on this list 3 times? Because good toy is good toy regardless of repetitive character. So if Optimus Prime legitimately had 3 of the toys I enjoyed the most last year, he's going to be on the list 3 times no matter what. He didn't bump anybody. He just had 3 really good toys. And the truth is, he had a lot of really good toys. And the more I realized this, the more I looked into this, I just kind of thought to myself, you know what? Optimus Prime had a pretty stellar 2023 in all directions, if we're really being honest here. I know he's like the franchise character, but it seems like last year in particular, he was just in a really, really strong place. So let's just go over it. And I will admit, to start, we're going to retread a little bit of yesterday's territory, but, you know, just for the sake of completion in this topic. So that does begin with my, spoiler alert, toy of the year, the Armada Optimus Prime from Legacy Evolution. Phenomenal toy. Okay? And from what I've seen going around, this like seems to be like the universal choice. I mean, there's personal preferences that sway things, you know, like I wasn't huge on Commander Ultra Magnus, but there's some people who are, and they made that their top toy of the year. Perfectly fair. It's all opinion here. But the Optimus Prime seems to be like far and away like the main choice for what the best toy in the year was, which is cool to see because it is a very huge glow up from what the original toy was, you know, and it does a ton of things for its price point. It's not just like a giant commander for the sake of being big like Magnus or Skyfire, Jetfire tend to be. It's just loaded with cool features. And yeah, it ends up being a very hefty, very large figure on top of all that. Fantastic figure. Fantastic toy. Absolutely deserves to be number 1. But as I said, it's not the only Optimus Prime I put on there. I put the Reactivate Optimus Prime as well because it's genuinely really impressive too. In a way that Earthrise Optimus Prime is also a really impressive toy, just with the level of engineering that it has. This one kind of hits the same notes, but it's doing tricks that even the Earthrise did not do. It deals with the feet sticking out the back situation. From the waist down, this Prime has a very different transformation than the usual stuff we've seen, and that's phenomenal to see. You know, it's about time we shook up the typical Prime transformation a little bit here, and this toy does a decent job of it. It has some of the old hallmarks we've seen since classics, you know, the kibble that folds into the arms from the vehicle mode, but it does so in a very clean way, and the engineering on it makes sense. So it absolutely is a really, really nice take on Optimus Prime. And of course, the Gamer Edition Prime was also really impressive. Again, super fun toy. A lot easier to transform than the original one was, more solid feeling and looking a lot better, looking more like the game model, like that super hefty robot he was in in the High Moon game. Love that toy as well. So yeah, those are like the 3 favorite primes I had as far as like toys go. There's a ton of good Optimus Prime toys from last year. Like, we can throw in the new animated Optimus Prime as well. I don't have it yet, and yes, it came out very tail end of the year. Technically, if you want to, you can make an argument for whether it's a 23 or 24 toy, depending on what you gauge. Is it the actual release date, or is it the date you could first find it? You know, because if you could play with it in 2023, then yeah, it's a 2023 toy. And I've heard nothing but good things about it. And from what I've seen in, you know, all these different behind the scenes and first in-hand shots, it looks fantastic. It looks like they've nailed yet another Optimus Prime toy. And it's going to be one of those where, like, I have to put a pin in it now because I might have to remember it for Toy of the Year in 1 year's time. That's the hard part about these toys coming out, like, right in between the 2 years, is if it's a really good one, but it doesn't fall under 2023, if it's on the 2024 side, I have to remember it for a long time to give it its due. And again, not the only example. Did anyone get the Core Series Optimus Prime from Rise of the Beasts? It's really good. You know, again, it's a very clean Optimus Prime. It does a lot of really nice, fun things. It could stand a little bit more paint, but it's nice in both modes. Again, it does something with the feet rather than just have them stick straight out the back. I always appreciate that every time I see it. It's just a really clean figure. It's not as complicated as some of the other primes I've already mentioned, but it doesn't necessarily have to be, you know? I mean, it's still just a really nice take on Optimus Prime, you know, and if you want something that's a little bit more simple or on the quick side to transform, it's a really, really nice option for that. You know, very, very nice toy. And if you couldn't find that, if you couldn't find the Core Series Optimus Prime, because only a few Walmarts got them in, the other Optimus Prime you could not find was the buzzworthy Bumblebee Studio Series version. I still don't understand why the main Optimus Prime toy of a brand new movie ended up as a Target exclusive, but here we are. And again, it's just a really solid figure. There's a little bit of weird engineering to it that I'm not a huge fan of, but it still comes across really, really solid, and it's still a fun toy to mess with. As I'm recording this video, it popped up again on Hasbro Pulse, so just in case you still need this figure, it might still be in stock by the time you watch this. I wouldn't count on it staying there for long, though. It's weird how this, like, 2 really nice Rise of the Beast Optimus Prime toys ended up being way harder to get than you would think, considering he's the marquee character, right? It's a very odd circumstance. And then we had some weird Optimus Primes. Even weird Optimus Primes were interesting this year. They took that Core Series Optimus and stuck a trailer on it and made sure that trailer was big enough for that weird core-sized Bumblebee. This is pretty much what they should have done from the start. I understand getting that Prime out as a standard core class. I understand wanting to get that Bumblebee out as a weird buzzworthy exclusive item. But this is just like the whole package, literally. It's just interesting to me that there's like a tiny version of G1 Optimus Prime that is for the most part complete, because it has a roller, it has the repair drone, it has the capacity for smaller transformers to fit inside. It's a nice little all-around Optimus Prime that fits on your desk, which I think is a really cool thing. I mean, yes, it's the same old core that they've been releasing time and time again, but hey, like, you know, compact Optimus is nice to have sometimes. I don't have a lot of desk space, right? So, like, if I just want a Prime to just hang out and look good and transform if I want to, not a bad choice. You know, and yeah, having all that comes with it, also good. We also were blessed with this. So this was Holiday Optimus Prime, but if you're like me, those, you know, those kind of kitschy, like, holiday redecos don't really do it for you. Like, I feel like it's an Optimus Prime I'll only feel like playing with, like, for 1 month out of the year, and for the rest, it just sits in a bin. So if I wanted an Optimus Prime that I'm more happy to take out from time to time, you wait for the normal deco. And the normal deco is the one I got, and this is another really interesting Optimus Prime toy. Completely different engineering style. completely different. You know, the front, like his arms are in the back, the front becomes the legs. We've reversed the idea of how Optimus Prime transforms, even though he still has the same window chest, even though it's very clearly not the same windshield, but we'll ignore that. We'll ignore that for now, for the sake of having something a little bit different, right? The VNR Optimus is really, really solid. I'm shocked it didn't come out in Hero Optimus colors. I guess they could still do that at some point if they wanted yet another G2 Universe figure. Wouldn't be quite right, but they could get it kind of close. I'm sure someone's already done a custom of it somewhere already. It's a pretty obvious idea. But again, really, really good Optimus Prime toys, and we just seem to just get them all year, like from early, from all the way to like the very tail end of the year. There's even a note for Orion Pax this year. Now, of course, it's the Siege Hound mold, so we're kind of like, okay, we've kind of been there already. But even Orion Pax getting a little bit of love, and a very different version in the, like a very random version of IDW Pax, no less. Interesting that one gets a figure of all Optimus Primes. You know, and it's always interesting when they go back and do the Orion Pax, because there's always different ways of taking it. You know, they've done a G1, I guess multiple times now. They've done the G1, like the one from the cartoon. And then this one, another weird take. And then there's plenty of others. There's plenty of other directions they could go in, because Orion Pax had several designs in IDW, some better known than this one. So it's always fun to see like how they play around with it. Now, this is just the toy side of what Optimus Prime did this year. And keep in mind, this is not the only stack of toys Optimus Prime had. This was a movie year. So, of course, he was thrown into everything they could. There's gimmicky figures. There are like one-step changers. There's a Nerf gun. Optimus Prime is a Nerf gun now. I can't cover them all. You know, and obviously some of them aren't gonna like hit like, oh yeah, this is just a really cool toy. Not a lot of them are worth mentioning. But yeah, I did the quick math. It's like if you want to throw in like every iteration of Optimus Prime and then like all the ones from Hasbro partners, you know, your 3-Zeros, your YOLO Parks, whatever. I know someone in the comment section is going to notice I mentioned YOLO Park again. But you're looking at like probably over 24 toys of Optimus Prime that came out in 2023, which is a ludicrous amount. Again, main character, so not a huge surprise. And that does kind of bring me to the main character himself, the Rise of the Beast Optimus Prime from the movie. I'm giving this one so much credit because, number one, the portrayal felt more like Optimus Prime than it had in previous Bayverse movies. You know, he doesn't have like the immensely violent tendencies or any kind of lines that he didn't have any lines in the movie that made me kind of feel like, I mean, he's got this like revenge thing, you know, because Bumblebee got, you know, killed. Spoiler alert for a movie that was out last summer. So he does have a little bit of that, you know, so it kind of reconnects him to the old Babe for the most part. But he has quips, he has little jokes, you know, and he talks more, and I can get more about his character in this movie. You know, because he feels like he failed his team because they're still stranded on Earth. Things like that, you know, and we actually got more in-depth Optimus Prime than we had in live-action movies to this point. It's also the first time since the 2007 movie that Optimus Prime didn't get written out of the movie for a good chunk of it. Now, you had Revenge of the Fallen where he was dead for a good chunk of the movie. You had Dark of the Moon where he was pretend dead and then trapped in wires that kept him out of most of the final fight scene. Because Optimus always has to sweep in right at the climax of Act 3 in order to be the big hero on the battlefield. Age of Extinction, he's captured for half the movie. And then in The Last Night, he's mind-controlled for half the movie. So, things like this, to write Optimus Prime out of the movie he's supposed to be the starring character in, because they were always saving Optimus for that last heroic charge at the end, because the idea is Optimus is such a strong warrior that as soon as he takes the battlefield, the Autobots win. So we can't have him on the battlefield right away. Rise of the Beast didn't do that. Optimus was in and a player in the movie for a good long time. It was Bumblebee that took a back seat for half of the movie. All right, so played the formula, but switched it up. I like it. The tail end of 2022 also gave us Alan Tudyk Optimus Prime in Earthspark. And again, if you're not watching the show, give the show a chance. It's a really good show. And Alan Tudyk puts in a really unique Optimus Prime. We have been blessed with Dad Prime. He gives off like dad trying to be cool vibes, but he still doesn't kind of lose, what makes an Optimus Prime. In a way, I would almost compare him closer to G1 Optimus Prime than any previous one, because he seems to actually have those same priorities. He's willing to give his enemies a chance to stand down or surrender, or he attempts a peaceful resolution before he goes in guns a-blazing. He has a gentler tone that he can speak with. He can joke, which, the original Optimus Prime could do, but none of the super serious ones later on. No post-movie Prime where he's just like dead serious general type. So I really like the flavor of this Optimus Prime. And Alan Tudyk does a really good job of being his own Prime rather than just impersonating Cullen. Also really good. You could also find Optimus Prime this year in Fortnite, of all things. 2023 saw him join the franchise as a Tier 100 skin, which means you actually not only had to buy the Battle Pass, but you had to get all the way to top level, and then secret levels, but that's a whole other thing, in order to unlock and play as Optimus Prime. So, good on him, because the level 100 skins are usually reserved for the ones they consider the most important, the best money getters, in every season's Battle Pass. Because he's Battle Pass, he's no longer available, but I'm hoping the Transformer set sold well enough so we can get a more G1 style Prime in the game, maybe? Just maybe? Also, super weird to play Fortnite and just randomly hear Peter Cullen talking to you in your head. That's also really weird. On the comic book side of things, we had Skybound debuting their stories, and Optimus Prime in this book has been getting praise everywhere I look, because again, it is the most Optimus he has felt in a long time. You can feel the compassion, you can feel the need to protect any life form he comes across. It's a really, really refreshing take on Optimus, and they did it by going back to the basics. He's not the murder machine from the Bay movies. He's not the stoic leader from Prime. He feels like a genuine, caring character, which is fantastic. I love this depiction of Optimus Prime. I might get back into reviewing the issues, because they are that good that I'm just kind of like, I finish an issue like, I want to talk about this. So I might play catch up and do that. Maybe. And then, of course, the biggest thing that Optimus Prime did this year, we had Peter Cullen winning a Lifetime Emmy Award for basically just as his voice acting in general. But yeah, really, for how long he's been such a popular character as Optimus Prime. And awarded this by Frank Welker, who also has won the exact same award. So you could not have asked for a better presenter. And I'm thrilled that both of them had such an honor as well. It's been a wonderful year for the main character of Transformers, for the original leader of the Autobots. I have no idea. It's not a movie year, so I don't think 2024 is going to compare. It might be a long time before we get Optimus Prime this strong again. But for Prime fans, Optimus Prime fans that is, you ate well in 2023. No denying that. So, there you go. It was the year of Optimus Prime. You can share whatever your favorite Optimus thing in 2023 was. Moment from the show, moment from the movie, moment from the comic book, toy, whatever. It's just kind of a chill out and let's just enjoy how good Optimus Prime is kind of video. So, as always, thank you for watching. I will see you next time.